Hey there, this is Helen with Bee Charm Farm, and it still might be rainy and windy outside, but it's a great day inside. Today, we're getting ready to bottle up some of our honey that we've worked so hard for all summer long. And for me, it all starts the night before. I store all my honey in 5-gallon buckets that have already been fitted with a honey gate. The honey gate just makes it so much easier to fill your jars and your bottles. But what makes it even better is this little baby right here. It's called a warm guard, and it's meant to go around your bucket of honey to warm it, to make it so much easier to fill your little bottles and your jars. But I'm curious, since I've had it plugged in from 10 last night till 10 today, and it's now been unplugged for about an hour and a half, maybe 2. And I'm just curious what the temperature is. I would like it to be between 90 and 105. And that'll just help everything just flow so smoothly. And the cleanup will be so much faster. So let's just check and see how warm it is. Right now it is currently about 71, 70 in the house. Let's see how warm this is. Looks like we're upwards of 101, 102, 102.5, 103, 103.1. I can deal with that. Look how nice that's going to be. It streams right off there. This is just an easy setup for me, so I just have a stool with my scale on it. Okay, I'm going to fill my jar to 566 grams, which should be about 20 ounces when I'm done. So I'm going to put this underneath the honey gate in the center. I'm going to zero this out. Then I'm going to slowly open up this, because this can be a little tricky to start with because it's so tight. And then I'm going to slowly fill this up, and the closer I get to 566 grams, I'm going to slow down. That's 558. 66. I'm at the end of the jars that I have left to do, and I'll show you what I do next. I used to put a little tab on them, but now I just vacuum seal them to keep people from tampering in them. Now that we're finished with sealing our jars, let's move on to labeling. Now, before I actually start labeling my jars, I want to speak briefly about labeling. Every state has some type of requirement. As much as we don't like it, it's in our better interest to do our best to make sure our labels are correct. Now, I run 20 or fewer hives at all times, so I don't fall into some of the major statements that you have to put on. Mine are simple. So here we go. Is to state that it's honey, and then the weight. I run ounces and grams, and obviously you would need your farm name or your personal name, and then lastly you would need a phone number or address where they could contact you. You know, I put it on there so they could contact me if they want more honey. I know, crazy, right? So on mine, because I run 20 or fewer, it's an exemption, and I do not have to put this statement on there. Is not prepared in an inspected food establishment and not for resale. Now, I verified all this information through a gentleman in Salem at the Oregon Department of Agriculture. And because I was getting conflicting information, and I was as confused as most people are when you try to search for things. So for us, it's pretty straightforward. Let's get to labeling. First thing I do is if my jars or bottles have any printing on them, I always make sure my printing is all facing the same direction. Otherwise, it can kind of look messy when it's on a shelf. And most of my customers now just throw this top lid away so I don't have a bunch of labels to peel off on my jar, making my life a lot simpler. So all I do now is just put my label on the lid. Just kind of make sure that it's all on there good. They're already sealed from that vacuum. Now I flip it over, and on the back, I put my contact information. That is very important to comply with those requirements. Now, as you noticed, I do have an extra statement here on mine that talks about how, if your honey happens to crystallize, what you can do to bring it back to a squeezable state. Although, you know, crystallized honey is really good and still edible. Honey never goes bad. This one is ready for sale. Hey, you guys, thanks for joining me today. I quite enjoy bottling my honey this way. I don't have expensive bottling equipment and doubt I ever will. On the labels, I was finding so many conflicting requirements that I decided to go straight for the Oregon Department of Agriculture and talk to them personally. And I wish I had done that sooner. Thank goodness I was labeling them correctly and I have never had an issue. But that's it for today. I'll see you in the next video. But in the meantime, leave me a comment and let me know what you use honey in, whether you're a beekeeper or not.